Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let us start our today's meeting. We are live streamed and we have internet public, so sorry for slight delay, and welcome you at the screens and public here on site in the premises of Europa Nostra Heritage Hub in Krakow. We would like to start with the introduction words by the Secretary General of Europa Nostra, Agnieszka Kładzik-Michajlowicz.
Dear colleagues and friends from Krakow and Poland, from Ukraine and from Europe and beyond, it is an immense honor and pleasure for me to greet your important event with such an inspiring title, Vyshyvanka, Embroidered Activism. Let me first warmly thank our Europa Nostra Heritage Hub based in Krakow for the organization of this event, both physically and online. How I wish I could be tonight with you in the beautiful historic premises of one of the oldest NGOs in Poland and the oldest member organization of Europa Nostra in Poland, the Society of Friends of Krakow History and Heritage, which has cooperation in Central and Eastern Europe. Let me convey the expression of our deepest gratitude to my dear friend, Professor Dr. Jacek Purchla, who is our Vice President and also President of the Society of Friends of Krakow History and Heritage. Big thanks also to Katarzyna Jagodzińska, Head of the Hub, to Joanna Sanetra-Zeringa, Deputy Head of the Hub, and to another Joanna Dziadowicz-Greganic, and the rest of your dream team for your hard work in developing, setting up, and animating our Krakow Hub. The opening of our hub in Krakow was a strategic decision at the very heart of Central and Eastern Europe and close to Ukraine. It was set up on the 1st of July 2022, only 5 months after the brutal aggression of Ukraine by the Russian army, with deplorable destruction of many heritage sites of symbolic and historic significance for Ukraine's cultural identity and also for Europe's shared cultural heritage. This is why one of the priority goals of the Krakow Hub is to promote Ukrainian heritage across Europe, including by mapping the heritage sector and building the capacity of heritage professionals. Together, we also wish to demonstrate that cultural heritage is a powerful vector of peace building, reconciliation, intercultural and interreligious dialogue, as well as an important promoter of key European values: democracy, the rule of law, and respect for human rights. Your today's event is fully in line with these values, and I'm delighted that Lesia Voroniuk, head of NGO World Vyshyvanka Day, can be in person with you, and that many people who are following this event online can also interact with her. She is a true European Heritage Champion. She received the European Heritage Award, Europa Nostra Award, in the category Citizens Engagement and Awareness Raising for the work of the NGO World Vyshyvanka Day. And this NGO and Lesia also won our Public Choice Award, and that was in 2022 when we organized the beautiful award ceremony in the State Opera in Prague. Let me also take this opportunity to congratulate Lesia for co-creating the Museum of Ukrainian Embroidered Shirts in Chernivtsi, which is opening today. This is a great reason for celebration, both in Chernivtsi and also in Krakow. Our European Award recognizes civil society initiative, worldwide celebrations of vyshyvankas. These traditional Ukrainian embroideries that have gained an even stronger symbolism since the outbreak of the war. They illustrate the continuation and strength of Ukrainian, yeah, it's quite a lapsus, Ukrainian and European, it's two sides of the same coin. So they illustrate the continuation of Ukrainian culture in the face of war and destruction. Vyshyvanka is a powerful symbol and an emotional story, or should I say, a myriad of cultural stories that Europe needs to hear and understand. Today's meeting will feature several of these stories, and they will unfold like threads of colorful embroidery. To end, let me convey again and again a message of solidarity to our colleagues and friends and all citizens of Ukraine who are fighting to safeguard their livelihoods and cultural identity. We are committed to supporting you, and we stand in solidarity with you. Following a successful implementation of the Heritage Solidarity Fellowship for Ukraine, launched last year, also with the support of the Alif Foundation, we shall soon launch a small grant scheme for heritage-led activities by civil society organizations that are based in 11 neighboring countries of the European Union, including Ukraine. This will be done in the framework of the European Heritage Hub pilot project co-funded by the European Union, and it will also benefit from the support of our trusted partner, the Alif Foundation. I wish you an inspiring event, and I look forward to visiting you soon, not only in Krakow, but also hopefully in Czernivtsi.
A very good evening. It is my great honor and pleasure not only to follow our dear Secretary General Śnieżka, but also to welcome you all, and especially our dear Lesia Voroniuk, here at the premises of the Society of Friends of the History and Heritage of Krakow, and the house of the first Europa Nostra hub. I'm not going to repeat what has been so beautifully emphasized by Nęcka, but let me just say that I'm happy tonight, not only hosting our dear friend from Czernivtsi, not only because of this important promotion of the very heavy, but also very important publication which proves the meaning of Vyshyvanka in a double sense, including the growing meaning of intangible heritage in Europe and all over the world, and Vyshyvanka as a very important weapon right now, emphasizing the strength and the dedication of Ukrainian nation struggling for the full sovereignty and independence. Just yesterday in Brussels, it has been decided to open the negotiations concerning the accession of Ukraine to our European family. I would like just to congratulate you, dear guest, dear Lesia, this very fact. And our small contribution tonight is that once again to prove that also our society established at the very end of the 19th century and dedicated to the heritage of Krakow is now ready to act as the bridge, strengthening also the friendship and our special understanding here in Krakow, in Poland, of the power, the meaning, and the future of our Ukrainian sisters and brothers. So I wish you a successful evening in the heart of medieval Krakow, and I'm asking kindly Dr. Katarzyna Jagodzińska, the big boss of our small hub, to take the floor and to continue the venue, the dialogue and the discussion. Thank you. Dużo dziękuję.
Thank you very much. It is a great pleasure to have you, Lesia, here in our hub. We already had a number of conversations, but they were either in Prague or online. And today we can meet on site in the premises of Europa Nostra Krakow hub. So it's great to have you here, finally. We will talk about Ukrainian embroidery, which is called vyshyvanka. We'll call it in Ukrainian vyshyvanka throughout the meeting. As already Professor Purha said, it's a powerful weapon, so we'll talk about it in this meaning as a weapon and talisman read from the contemporary perspective of war, also refuge. So first of all, I would like to introduce our special guest. Lesia Voroniuk is a Ukrainian cultural curator. She holds PhD in the field of political science, and she's the head of the NGO World Vyshyvanka Day, which last year in 2022 was awarded European Heritage Award, Europa Nostra Award, two actual awards because it also won the public award. Lesia was the main curator or partner of over 70 projects in Ukraine and abroad, including documentation work, producing books and art albums, organization of exhibitions, workshops, fashion shows, and diplomatic receptions. She has also masterminded major communication and educational campaigns, festivals, and reconstruction projects. There is a number of questions that I will ask, but first of all, I would like to start with something simple as to introduce to our discussion. What is Vyshyvanka?
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. First of all, I want to say thank you for the invitation to Europa Nostra Heritage Hub in Krakow. And I want to thank to Poland for totally support Ukraine during the Russian war in Ukraine and helping us. And I hope we will have our Ukrainian and European victory together. Well, Vyshyvanka actually is a embroidery shirt, traditional embroidery Ukrainian shirt, and it's a part of traditional outfit. And sometimes I can hear questions that Vyshyvanka is something special. Yes, it's special thing in values, how we understand Vyshyvanka, but I want to say that each nation, in each country has traditional and outfit and embroidered shirt. But sometimes in many countries, this traditional outfit is just museum exhibits and modern people don't wear, and don't like, don't understand these clothes. And the idea of Ukrainian vyshyvanka is that it's not just clothes, it's our symbol of identity and independence.
Can you tell us more about the patterns itself? Because everything has a meaning. The color has a meaning, the pattern, the shape. You can tell looking at, I'm looking at the shirt and the shirts right now. You can tell from which part of Ukraine, from which region it comes from. So can you also tell us about the meaning of those colors and the patterns that are used to be included before, like historically?
Yes, when we are talking about Vyshyvanka as historical and cultural heritage, there are 16 ethno-regions of Ukraine, and each region, of course, has another embroidered shirt with another patterns and colors. But now we can see how this idea of vyshyvanka becomes new values, and it looks like very modern shirts and modern clothes. And here I want to show you, for example, this white old embroidered shirt. It is more than 100 years, and this embroidered shirt was embroidered by red and black colors, and it has very interesting story because our soldiers saved this embroidered shirt as towels that you can see in our exhibition. This embroidered shirt is of the Kharkiv region from combat zone, and when Ukrainian soldiers um, were there, they saw in one completely destroyed Ukrainian village just parts of village school museum. And then they saw this embroidery, and they called to ask and asked, do we need exhibits like that? Of course, we said yes, because now it's not just museum exhibits, it's very important part of our new history. And the second value of this embroidery shirt is that it was saved but by our soldiers, so not by culture curators or museum workers. It was our defenders, and they, as culture curators, understand the value of Ukrainian embroidery shirt. So it's a really national symbol.
We'll come back to that probably not once in a moment, but first I would like to introduce you in the context of Vyshyvanka, because you're not in the field of ethnology or anthropology or art history. You're in the field of political science. You've got a PhD in that field. And can you tell us, how has the adventure with embroidered shirt and the whole idea that led to creation of a museum actually started?
Well, now I understand that political science and ethnology, history, and arts have a lot of same ideas and values. And we can't talk about art and about culture heritage without understanding political processes or social processes. When I was a student of the Faculty of Political Science and International Relationships, we created with our friend students Vyshyvanka Day. It was at first just students flash mob action, when students wear vyshyvanka to the university. And then from year to year, this holiday growed up, and now it's World Vyshyvanka Day, and more than in 100 countries, people wear Ukrainian vyshyvankas. There are Ukrainians and solidarity with Ukraine foreigners, and it's a day that presents Ukraine culture abroad. And it's a day when we try to know much more about European culture or about world culture. So it's a place when we can cooperate and deeply understand culture processes.
Well, the Vyshyvanka Day spreads throughout the world, and I wonder how it works. Do you somehow operate it from Czernowce, or it's happening independently?
Well, our team is not so big. There are 5 people who work in our NGO, but for each project, we take a bigger team, or we make bigger team because we work with documentaries, exhibits, we're publishing books, postcards, and we are making a lot of other culture activities. And of course, we have a lot of partnerships organizations in Ukraine and abroad. And since we won Europa Nostra prize, we growed up very much, and we understood um, how deeply interesting is international cooperations with culture partners from other countries. So now our top idea is work with international partners and to make common projects in culture heritage.
So after creation of the World Vyshyvanka Day and its unprecedented success, because it's a really huge event taking place on this particular day, you started creation of Museum of Vyshyvanka. Can you say the full official name of the museum?
Well, it's Vyshyvanka Museum, Museum of Relics and Technologies.
So it was 2019, shortly before the pandemic.
Yes.
So why, how, at what point of your life you decided that embroidered shirt deserves a museum and that you will make it?
Well, we made a lot of projects in Ukraine and abroad. During 16 years, we managed more than 70 projects. But then we understand that we have to have physical place when we will work, and all what we do, we can show all other our documentaries, our books, our exhibitions, our research works. And this museum is very, I hope, will be very interesting because we want to tell about cultural heritage by modern technologies. So we will show old vyshyvankas and use a lot of touchpads, 3D, and IT technologies. And now, since Russian full-scale invasion in Ukraine, we understood that the idea of museum it's not to make it just like ethnographical museum, but make a lot of exhibitions about modern Ukrainian vyshyvanka, about military vyshyvanka, and about vyshyvankas of Ukrainian soldiers and heroes. It will be the first floor, and the second floor we want to make about outfits of folk of European countries. So it's very important to cooperate and to know more about each other.
Can you tell us more about what was happening when the escalation of Russian aggression actually happened? Because the museum is still in organization. It hasn't been open to the public. As you told me earlier, you plan to open the museum next year. If the war didn't happen, it would already be operating. But you were operating in the field of research, documentation, and also uh, production of vyshyvankas for soldiers.
Yes, so we worked as a research NGO, and we don't embroider vyshyvankas before big war. And when it started, so we understood that we want to be helpful for our armed forces, like all organizations and NGOs in Ukraine. So before big war, they worked with culture, with sports, with young people, and since February, all tried to help armed forces. So with weapons, with ambulances, medicines, and we understood that we have to do something too. And we started embroidery vyshyvankas, and then we bought ambulances and armors for soldiers. On May, we had Vyshyvanka Day, and full-scale invasion started on February. And our idea was that it's not good time to make Vyshyvanka Day because it's very happy holiday when all people are very beautiful in Vyshyvankas. But we have a lot of questions from soldiers that they want not just medicine. They asked us when became our volunteer help, where is packets with Vyshyvankas? And it was answer to our question what we have to do. So we continue our work with heritage, with culture project, and with Vyshyvankas.
What kind of clothing did you embroider? Shirts?
Yes, embroidery shirts, like a classic old embroidery shirt. Yes.
With what patterns?
We try to work with old ornaments because it's very important to save culture heritage and this culture identity. But also we can see how modern designers and society in war understand what has happened through culture and through arts and through embroidery. And there are a lot of modern vyshyvankas. And for example, here you can see the second vyshyvankas. It's something like military vyshyvanka because it's not white. It's khaki color and it's modern patterns with birds. In Ukraine, it's a symbol of family. And it's very complicated question because war just destroyed families because men are soldiers and women's and children's are abroad. And very interesting is that here you can see also, so here is military vyshyvankas, and in this vyshyvanka you can see, for example, it's plane. It's the biggest cargo plane in the world called Mria. He was built in Ukraine, and in the first day of this full-scale invasion, he was destroyed, just totally destroyed. And Mria is dream. And now this plane, this destroyed plane for Ukraine is like a symbol that you can destroy plane, but you can destroy dream and our dream about victory.
And Can you also tell us, you already spoke about it earlier, but maybe now you could a bit develop those military patterns, because we have the khaki color, which is the change of color of the cloth, but there is also a variety of symbols that are appearing. And I was wondering whether it's kind of a massive production, like a lot of people are introducing those patterns, or it's just several that you basically collected in the museum. Can you buy them in shops in various places, or they are just homemade for own use?
Actually, there are a lot varieties of these modern military vyshyvankas. I think I saw more than 50 models of these vyshyvankas, and they are for men, for women, and for children too. Because war, it's not about just soldiers; it's about all society, and it's all people live in this war. And what about patterns? You can find very modern ornaments, for example, with bayraktars or with tanks or military planes, or, for example, with dog patron. It's modern Ukrainian symbol too. It's a dog who help soldiers find people after bombing. So it's about that art image, that what we are feeling now, and sometimes there are discussions what is better, old ornaments or modern ornaments. Well, we can't say what is better, because we understand that it is our history and culture heritage, and it's modern culture, and in 50 years it will be culture heritage.
Absolutely. And staying with the museum for one more moment, you were saying that the museum, even though it is not operating as an open museum, it is functioning as a place that supplies vyshyvankas and also helps soldiers with other um, equipment and other stuff. But also, you are the place that is called for help when there is a bombing, and soldiers know that there is some cultural heritage basically to be saved. Can you tell us more about how it works? Maybe some story that an anecdote that is worth telling.
Whereas, there are a lot of stories, and every time it was another situation. How these things from combat zone come to us, because during the first day of the big war, people send these things to us by volunteers, by cars, by trains, or sometimes from owner to us. One exhibit comes through 10 people, and it comes to our museum. Sometimes there were stories when it was not so much time to go out from combat zone, but Ukrainians don't want go before they take their vyshyvankas and embroidered shirts. And for example, police say, so you have just 10 minutes, so you must go out and take just documents and warm clothes. And Ukrainians start to take vyshyvankas and towels from walls. And these exhibits are very special, and will have in our museum special place, because it's stories about our values. So it's not so Ukrainian people, it's about be Ukrainian at home. And sometimes I ask this people, so it was too complicated situation, it was too hard situation, and your city was bombing. You had chance to leave these vyshyvankas and come to Kyiv, to Vinnytsia, or to Krakow, and buy new vyshyvanka. Why you was in this situation? And they said me, no, it's mine. Russian destroyed my house, but they can destroy my vyshyvanka. So I just take just something from my place.
How big is the collection right now? Like more or less?
Well, now we have more than 100 exhibits from eastern regions of Ukraine, and of course we're working with embroidery masters who embroider for us um, reconstructions of old vyshyvankas. It's second part of exhibits, and the third part will be these modern vyshyvankas, military vyshyvankas. Now you can buy them in shops. So and now, for example, state museums don't understand how interesting and important exhibits are. So they say, no, it's nothing. But I understand then in 10 and 100 years, this military culture will be very important.
And how does your collection and the museum actually is situated among other Ukrainian museum collections? Even though they're not specialized in embroidery, they surely have collection of embroidered shirt.
Well, in Ukraine, there are a lot of ethnographic museums, and of course, they have great collections. For example, in Kyiv, in Lviv, in Chernivtsi, in Poltava, and there are thousands of very old exhibits. But idea of our museum is just another. So we want to tell about Vyshyvanka not just like about clothes, old clothes, but symbol of struggle and symbol of independence. And we collect modern vyshyvankas, so it will be some other another story or another value of vyshyvankas.
You have just published a beautifully illustrated album with your collection. Is it the first volume that you plan?
Well,
Let's show it. Yes, let's show it. Oh, it's heavy.
yeah, it's more than 2 kilograms.
Oh,
Thanks. Our team is very proud of this book because we made it during the war, last 9 months, and we went to a research expedition. We went from the city to city, from village to village, and we tried to find as much as possible embroidered exhibits with state Ukrainian symbols, tridents, and yellow-blue flag. And important to say that this topic wasn't researched by state institutes or state museums or ethnographical museums before us. And it just a new, absolutely modern research book about the state symbols. It is in Ukraine and English, and I understand that you must make it in Polish too. And we're proud of this book because we remember and we told Ukrainians now that who we are and who we were 100 years ago, because a lot of these exhibits were embroidered during the Soviet occupation. Not all, but a lot of them, and it was like to show Ukrainian position, that Ukraine hadn't independence in that time, but Ukrainian language and Ukrainian state symbols were alive.
So now coming to the end of part one of our meeting today, I would like to ask you about the reception of Vyshyvanka abroad, because war brought unprecedented interest in Ukrainian culture, heritage, artistic production. Also, Vyshyvanka got recognition in various places abroad. When you travel, and you recently travel quite a lot with the presentation of this wonderful book, and when you meet people in various countries from various nationalities, what is your reflection on reception of Vyshyvanka abroad, both among Ukrainians and non-Ukrainians?
Well, every time we have a lot of questions from foreigners about Ukraine and Ukraine culture. And sometimes I understand that it's something like terra incognita, and we try to present Ukrainian culture as a part of European culture. And of course, these dialogues are always very interesting because this war start a big process to in Ukraine when Ukrainians start learning Ukrainian language and Ukrainian history much deeper than before war, and other countries start interested in Ukraine. And now, for Ukrainian culture curators and Ukrainian idea, the option isn't be interested in just in Russia culture. So we understood how rich is European culture, and how deep it is, and how much we can learn, study, and cooperate. And this war destroys Ukrainian cities, villages, and kills Ukrainian people. But this war show us new opportunities, and old new world, that we were part of European world, and we are the part of European world, and hopefully we will be the part of the European puzzle.
We met last year. That was September 2022, when you were receiving the European Heritage Award. So over a year passed now. Do you see growing interest, more people having knowledge about Ukrainian culture and embroidered shirts? Do you observe that?
We feel that in Ukraine very much. So people who hadn't vyshyvankas or spoke Russian now have not one but two or three vyshyvankas, for example, and begin to speak own language, Ukrainian language, and begin to study Ukrainian history, not from Russian books, but from Ukrainian books, from European researchers. And it's very important educational process, and it's very important process of creating Ukrainian European identity.
I asked this question at the very end because I feel that this is the bridge between our conversation and the panel discussion, to which I would like to invite in a moment two amazing scholars and practitioners. Krakow itself actually has recently observed a growing interest in embroidery and in vyshyvanka as such because of the exhibitions that were one is still on in the ethnographic museum, and the other one with a collection of historic vyshyvankas in the Museum of Krakow has just finished. So it shows, I believe, a growing interest and embroidery present in a larger scale, maybe in the public space. But this is something I would like to also ask our two panelists. So now I would like to invite Dr. Ewa Klekot and Dr. Monika Nęcka to join us. No. Yes. So first, a few words of introduction of our two panelists. Dr. Ewa Klekot is an anthropologist, translator, and curator, assistant professor at the Institute of Design at SWPS University. She also lectures at the School of Form and the University of Warsaw. She's interested in the interdisciplinary combination of humanities and social sciences with design and artistic activities, both in research and education. Her current research area is anthropology of production and related cognition of knowledge, that is skills, body knowledge, materials and processes, production of traditions and intangible heritage. She also deals with an anthropological reflection on art, especially the social construction of folk and primitive art, as well as the materiality and valuation of things considered as design, art, monuments, and museum exhibits. And Dr. Monika Nęcka is an art methodologist. She works at the Academy of Fine Arts in Krakow in the Department of Artistic Education. She gives lectures and creative workshops in Poland and abroad. Author of an art history program for early school education and a collection of exercises for children in the field of cultural identification. Member of the Polish Committee of the International Society for Education through Art. Thank you very much for joining us. So now I will ask three of you, and also I would like to invite our public if you have any questions, if you would like to maybe comment something from your own perspective. We'll have time for it. Don't worry. After we have this conversation, which I believe will bring some broader context to what Lesia was saying about vyshyvankas. Well, undoubtedly, sewing is a universal language. Techniques may differ and the patterns may differ, but the idea remains the same. There is the thread, there is the needle, and there is the piece of cloth. And first question to all of you. What is your reflection on how Ukrainian vyshyvanskas are gaining popularity in international public sphere? So basically, I have already asked Lesia about it, and I would like to broaden now the discussion through your perspective of like very broad anthropological context and art education, art methodology. Who would like to start?
Thank you, Katarzyna, for the invitation, and thank you, Lesia, for your beautiful presentation of the topic and sometimes very moving anecdotes and details. And actually, I can understand from what you have said that the Vyshyvanka Day is about wearing vyshyvanka and about having vyshyvanka and not about making vyshyvanka. And this is actually my question to you. I will delve on the topic that you have touched upon, developing now my my speech. But this is my question to you, because I think that the international acclaim of this shirt with embroidery as a symbol of Ukrainian national identity is somehow gaining its momentum. And for you, the Ukrainians also wearing it, it's become a statement, a very strong statement, especially if we compare the like wearing folk costume in Poland and wearing vyshyvanka in Ukraine. You actually cannot compare the strength of the statement. In your case, this is the national identity, very strong statement. And you were explaining beautifully how Vyshyvanka has been gaining also this very strong war-connected meaning and military support meaning. So here comes my question. What about making Vyshyvanka? Because of course I understand the soldiers, they are keen on wearing all these examples that have been appearing on the screen in a loop. But the majority of them, they are machine-made vyshyvankas. They are not handmade vyshyvankas. So my question would be about handmade vyshyvankas, whether they are present in this new tradition of vyshyvanka. What is the place of hand making of vyshyvanka? And my question comes from the knowledge about craftivism. I guess you know the word craftivism, and activism is in the title of our debate. So craftivism is making craft as a statement, but making it's less about the object itself and more about the act of making. And when you were explaining all this topic of Vyshyvanka, I thought, my goodness, really, women sitting in Poland in circles and embroidering shirts for the soldiers, it would be a very strong statement. So is it taking place? Do you have really like people hand making vyshyvankas now, or is it this more I understand you can buy them in shops and you need many of them, so that's why you embroider them by machines, but then maybe designing them is kind of like common enterprise, because I think gathering strength now is anyway vyshyvanka, but the time will come when people will need more. And if you have the embroidering community, I think it will make the statement stronger than just having wearing community. So my question will be about the embroidering community.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Now we can see that embroidery community grows up, and there are a lot of reconstruction centers where embroidery masters embroidered by handmade, and it's a very interesting and good process, because these masters try to work with very old ornaments and techniques. And for example, 5 or 10 years, the variety of ornaments weren't so rich than now. And nowadays, these reconstruction centers are working with museums, with ethnographical museums, and they are researching ornaments. And this is very important and educational process, and a cultural process too. Of course, we have a lot of machine embroidery, because it is much deeper. It's not so pricely. It's not. It's cheaper. Yes, thanks. Yeah, and faster. Yes, and for example, where we need 1,000 of vyshyvankas, we had to buy machine vyshyvankas. But I want to say that there are a lot of Ukrainians who want to buy handmade vyshyvankas, and they are pricely, so they can be from 200 euro to 1,000 euro or 1,500 euros. This handmade, and there are Ukrainians who want and who want just handmade. They don't like and don't use machine embroidery. And sometimes we, of course, have discussions what embroidery is better, machine or handmade, but we can't say what is better. We just hand one and the second, and I understand that each person decide what she want and what she can buy.
So I would maybe add some words to this subject, because I think that handmade vyshyvanka is a kind of energy power of it is a bank of energy because when you are making it, when you see the women embroidering, which they are focusing on the pattern, which is complicated, which has its sense, but you must keep your mind and body together to make it. And this process is giving something extremely special. It is also giving very special space for those women, mostly women, because of course there are men who are doing it, but we are used to such groups, to join such groups which are mostly women, which are sitting together, they are feeling together, and they have space for talk. If you don't need to talk with others, you can have the space and time for talking with yourself. So this handmade embroidery is something which combines a lot of other energies and a lot of other processes. So it must be something with value, which is not possible to reach to receive by machine, by some other processes. So I think that probably it will come time for Ukraine to make such groups. Those groups are happening here, and it is beautiful to see how needed it is. Maybe it is because we are so active now that activity is the main thing in our life and we must do something. And it is a kind of shame to just stop, sit, and think. So, such Vyshyvanka is a kind of excuse. We are doing, we are making something beautiful, something significant, but also we have the space for thinking, for being together and being here and in the same time, in the same moment together. Yes, but I think that in Ukraine still it is this tension which is not giving possibility to make this quiet space for doing things together. Just sit together and do, because there are different things to which must happen. And there is one more thing. You said that it was beautiful sentence that someone said that enemies can take your home, but they can't take from you your vyshyvanka. We were working with children from the start of the war, and they also needed to have something like those soldiers. They needed to have something which will be only there, that they have it in their small pockets, always with them. So this part of past, which is now going into the future because of the patterns, because of the changes, it is something fantastic. It is a kind of growing responsibility for contemporary heritage, so that we are giving our real thoughts, our real expressions, our real problems we are continuing in during our lives. We are giving the message about them in those vyshyvanki.
Thanks you. Yes, this moment of embroidering, it's like a meditation. And when a few masters work together, and in Ukraine there are a lot of men embroidery masters, so it's not just women art crafts. And there are a few very good and very artistic young men who embroider vyshyvankas. I just thought that I know a few very interesting tradition during embroidering. For example, when a woman embroidered shirt, she prays, or she doesn't eat milk on or meal, so she makes a lot of other things to make vyshyvanka with a special, like a special protection subject. Or, for example, it's a interesting tradition. Before vyshyvanka isn't completed, no one can see it. So because maybe some person can have bad eyes, so it's not a good idea. Actually, when someone makes vyshyvankas for children, or for wedding, when people wear vyshyvankas for wedding, so it's in some regions traditions that nobody can see these vyshyvankas.
I would like to just add, because you're asking about the handmade vyshyvanka, and you're saying about the sitting around the table and special feeling that we have today Miss Tina Bondarenko, who is the master embroiderer, and she basically teaches vyshyvanka in Krakow. She's been here for 5 years already. And I very much hope that ladies, those are mostly ladies, will also meet in these premises to spend time together to learn something else. And when I was talking with Tina 2 days ago, she was telling me how important for her like well-being embroidery is, that it allows to release anger or like tension, hard emotions, so that she is embroidering, and after some time, an hour or so, she like destroys, she like takes the thread out, because it was not for making a beautiful pattern, it was just as an action of releasing emotions. So when I was later on speaking with Monika, I was asking her, maybe I will ask this question again, can we like see it as a kind of arts therapy?
For me, saying therapy, the word therapy is not a good word, because it is always connected with health process, but therapy should be watched, should be discussed. But I think that it is just the enjoyment of living, or just the kind of catharsis you can make through or by Vyshyvanka, that you don't need therapy. You just need to involve in some process which is letting you to think, to feel deeper. So to give this time for yourself, and use it as you like, as you need the moment, because the feelings are changing, the needs are changing. Someone needs to destroy, but someone needs to put some message into something extremely beautiful for someone important. So it must be finished and it must be powerful because there is some intention in it. And like that, you can use Vyshyvanka the way not someone else told you to do, but the way you need it in the moment. Because, for instance, putting the shape of the tongue of the plane in such Vyshyvanka is doing something completely different with it and with the person who is making it than putting together flowers and birds which are bringing joy, just pure joy, which is also good for the body and soul and mind. So for me, it is more like being, like a meeting with yourself or with people. In the moment, you can need this, that, or both.
Yeah, I would add to this that I think this is about care, not about therapy. It's about caring for what you are doing. You just do something with a dedication. You care for what you are doing. You care for the person that you are doing it for, but you also care for yourself. So I think this act of, well, craft making actually, not only Vyshyvanka, but of making craft is something that has a lot of it caring. This is, and if I may add to this shirt, embroidered shirt, making or wearing, or making and wearing, I think that the community of the wearers is also more about consumption than about being together. So I think that if you have your own vyshyvanka that you have made by yourself, then it's like building up deeper community because you care more. You care. I mean, people that were taking vyshyvankas from their bombed houses or evacuating themselves with their vyshyvankas, they were caring about the object, but actually they were caring about themselves. So this multi-layered care is in it, in the act of making something with your hands and then wearing it and then sharing it with other people.
So that you are making it a part of yourself.
So that the internet can hear you. I also wanted to ask you if there is any danger for the intangible heritage, because it's a live heritage. As you can see, the new patterns are appearing, new clothing, new colors. So it is changing. It is like live thing. But also it starts to like many other folk elements, it starts to be recreated in multiple ways, functioning as also part of the popular culture. So I was wondering, is there like a danger? Should we be afraid that at some point it loses its original meaning, or it's good that it starts to gain its new life?
I mean, intangible heritage is about living. So, living heritage can be only intangible heritage. But of course, if we look into the convention, we have definitions, and it's about multi-generation transmission, intergeneration transmission, the continuity of tradition. So, I think that what you were saying about your idea that you will collect contemporary vyshyvankas for the future, it sounded really that to me, to my ear, it sounded like you were trying to build up a link, intangible heritage link between the past vyshyvankas and the contemporary vyshyvankas, and making them already into heritage. I think if you really focus on transmitting both making and wearing tradition, and the tradition is continuous, life itself will change its meaning. But the point is to make this living tradition in this full sense, not only making it into a good that can be bought and had. It's not about object. The intangible heritage is not about object. Is about tradition, techniques, methods of embroidering. Well, you have cross stitch, but you have also this like satin stitch. I could see. So transmitting this, making it alive. It is and living all the time. This is the intangible heritage.
And I also think that this is a kind of hope for this type of heritage, that if you live with it, so if you are continuing with it, and you are changing the form because the word is changing, so we can't use it in the former shape, in the former type of using. So if you really understand it, if you really let it go through your body, so you will make it, you will wear it, you will feel that you are a part of it, or it is a part of you, then you are making this responsible continuation of heritage. So it can't go wrong. It is just good, that because we should be responsible for what we are leaving for the next generations. We have fantastic history. We have fantastic objects, but we are also creators. We are also people who have our own ideas, our own events to talk about. So heritage, we are also creating.
Yes, I just wanted to add that in Ukraine now is situation when culture heritage is deeply connected or deeply in each person, and there before war, culture heritage uh, was something like in museums or in galleries, not so emphatic. And now it's our emotions, and we try to connect all together our history, heritage, what we feel now, what we can or will produce for future, and it's I think it's very interesting project, and perhaps it's complicated to understand that it's history, it's nowadays, it's future, because now it works all together, and sometimes we can um, have very interesting results when we have embroidery with, for example, old techniques but with modern ornaments, or when embroidery masters choose old cloth or old cotton, but they are embroidering tanks, for example. So there are the variety of these experiments is now very, very big.
We are talking today about Vyshyvanka from the area of activism, like we demonstrate, Ukrainians demonstrate their belonging to Ukrainian nation, but they also want to show that they fight, that they literally go to the front with Vyshyvanka. And I was wondering, can you maybe bring up some examples of other examples of activism in the area of heritage? Is there something that we could actually compare it with?
Well, textile heritage is an area where craftivism developed actually. So kilt sewing, for example, and kilt sewing is very much related. You know what kilts are, right? So it's related to race identity and class identity, and again, it's about making statements together and making something together. And well, now I said it's race and class, but actually, what has come to my mind was a huge kilt made in as commemoration to the HIV victims in the 1980s. So people were mourning their friends and sewing a kilt that was a commemoration to the victims. So it was like sharing their grief, but making something beautiful. And this is really the beginning of the craftivism. And then you have craftivism in textile, all these crochet guerrilla statements in the cities where people attach the crochet elements to different parts of urban landscape, or to put attention on a problem or to make it more lively. I mean the objectives are different, but I think particularly textile, it's something that is very prone to this activist use, because it's not very complicated in terms of, as you said, it's a needle, a thread, piece of cloth or crochet, or you knit it. I mean, it's quite easy to be made, and you can make it together. But each of us can make a little piece, and then we join it, which is also very important in craftivism and in making statements. Common statements, creating a community. So actually, when I saw the title of our today's discussion, the first thing that came to my mind was, oh, great! This is really a possibility, a huge possibility there is in this embroidering together, making statements together, mourning together. Longing together, being in Poland and longing for your Ukraine. This is something that really, really has a potential for being craftivism.
There is also other side. There is side of art itself. We have in Krakow an artist and activist, Monika Drożyńska, um, who is very much taking care of involved embroidery. So she made, for instance, such banner. I think, I feel, I decide. So there is also a way to um, show your anger, to show your protest, to show that in old form, when you were the women usually were thinking about their problems, but embroidering things they should think. Now you are learning how to think and think while watching wall hangings. So there are such very strong movements in art which are using all types of technique or all types of shapes which are showing very new movements which are appearing, which are happening.
Well, I just remember this piece of clothing that the Ethnographic Museum has on view right now at the exhibition that is coming to an end. Actually, that is the Jubilee exhibition of embroiders of the association that embroids
Yeah, and it is very special exhibition because it is called Good Heavens, in Polish, Ale Kosmos. And except of the pieces of real art, real technically perfect vyshyvanki, there is some, you can see some project which was called, I was searching for it, Ritual Towel Anno Domini 2020. And it was something beautiful. It is something beautiful, but it was event with through which you can see that such making a group is making a group forever. Because pandemia, of course, we all experienced it, and the borders it made between people. The women, the ladies from the society, they,
Called Lut Art.
this was too long to remember, but yes, they wanted to be somehow together. And they invented, it was a idea of Halina Dulemba, who decided that they will take a piece of material of linen 40 by 190 centimeters, and that they will be part by part making a towel out of it. So each of them will make a part and will make a documentary of making it. So why such patterns, why this technique, and so on. So they were they were spending it to each other and making it in a way together. So it appeared that they made one towel to protect from evil, to protect from plague, from protect, and to show that this protection can be also beautiful. They made it, and they have it, and it is a kind of proof of the solidarity of this being together from a distance. And I want to invite you all because on 7th of January, for the closure of exhibition, there will be a workshop, which name is at the beginning and at the end. And during these workshops, everybody can come and make small or big, depending on time you can spend in this place. You can make your own New Year's wishes, New Year for yourself, so that you can make it, you can embroider it, you can take it with you, with this energy you put into making it. I think that it is a beautiful idea. So let's meet on 7th in Ethnographic Museum. And I think that it is also a very nice lesson for giving time to yourself, for this thinking and being with yourself. So you are very much invited.
So you already mentioned before Monika Drwinska, like the also contemporary artists are employing sewing or embroidery into their art, and now like thinking about projects that are right now or have just ended or will shortly open. I forgot about one more, that there is Małgorzata Markiewicz working on the curtain of the Słowacki Theater. Słowacki Theater is one of the major theaters in Krakow, has the masterpiece curtain painted by Henryk Siemiradzki, and right now there is it's almost ready, being created women's curtain, which is embroidered by a number of women under the leadership of contemporary artist Markiewicz. So the premiere is to be held very soon before Christmas. So embroidery, thread, needle, and cloth actually is all around us, and there I believe that we can write lots of stories and lots of also untold stories, because when I was speaking also with Tina Bondarenko, we were saying that it's a kind of a universal language. We don't really need to speak Ukrainian, Polish, or some other language. We can just meet up and do it. I wouldn't like to dominate the floor. Maybe our public would like to add something, would they like to share with something, would like to ask something. This is really a dream team, so take the occasion and would you like a microphone to say something? Anyone? Don't be shy. Well, a lot of have been said, so last chance. Yes.
I have a question for you. I don't remember your name. Sorry. What are your next steps in your journey for this project of embroidery? Will you produce more, and are you going back to Ukraine, or will you stay here in Poland?
Thank you. Well, we came to Krakow this morning, and now then we are going to Vienna with presentation of our book, and then we will come back to Ukraine because we are in Ukraine in Chernivtsi. Our top project is, of course, Vyshyvanka Museum as very modern cultural and educational center. And our idea is to create as much as possible communications with international organization and partnerships, because we made a lot in Ukraine, so we had enough knowledges, and now we understand that we need to move further. And now it's period when we can work abroad in Europe, but actually we will be very happy to invite our colleagues and Europa Nostra Hub and Polish researchers to Ukraine. Of course, now it's not very safe, but for example, in Chernivtsi, we are continue working and we can work there. And I hope so much that in not a far time it will be safety, and we will invite to Chernivtsi for these international workshops, because for all Ukrainians it's very important to know much more about European culture. It's a question for Ukrainian educational system, of course, and it's question for Ukrainian NGOs that work in with culture. So we made a lot about ourselves, and now it's very important to make bridges. Thank you.
I'm standing in the back because there might be some more questions. Is there anyone else would like to ask something, add something? Maybe some of you are actually embroidering. If there are no more questions, I would like to thank very much our wonderful guests arriving today at dawn, basically reaching Krakow after spending 10 hours at the border. Lesia, thank you very much for accepting our invitation and coming over. And I really hope that it's not the last time you're here. It's basically the first time you're physically at the premises of the Krakow Hub. Thank you, our dear panelists, for joining our discussion and sharing your view and adding wider context to discussion on Vyshyvanka. And I believe it is really not the last time when we meet around Vyshyvanka. I believe that with Lesia, we will brainstorm some more events or projects. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, those who are watching us on the internet, and also follow our events in the new year on Facebook and on the website of Europa Nostra Krakow Heritage Hub. Thank you very much.